Hello, everyone. Welcome to Love Amplified. I am your host, Gayla Lawrence, author of Love Amplified: How Caregiving Reveals the Heart's True Capacity. Thank you for joining me today. We have a special guest and a great topic for you today. The topic today is called the Livable Communities Caregiving Coaching Program. We're going to hear about a new program that's happening here in Westchester County, New York. And our guest today is Ms. Collete Phipps. I'm going to read her bio for you, and then I'm going to bring her to the stage. Collete Phipps' human services background spans approximately 40 years. She presently serves as the Director, Program Development for the Westchester County Department of Senior Programs and Services, or DSPS. In her current position, she conducts research and analysis on trends relating to the senior citizen population and develops new programs to address the needs of these residents as well as their caregivers. Ms. Phipps' additional responsibilities include providing oversight of several major initiatives and projects sponsored by DSPS and its 501c3, the Westchester Public-Private Partnership for Aging Services. She is the executive director of the national award-winning Westchester County Livable Communities, a Vision for All Ages initiative. Under the large umbrella of Livable Communities, she oversees several programs aimed at leveraging support for older adults and their caregivers. They include, but are not limited to, Next Stage Network, Caregiving Coaching Program, telehealth intervention programs for seniors, and Care Circles of Westchester. Ms. Phipps is a licensed master of social work, a certified dementia practitioner with a special advanced social worker in gerontology certification from the National Association of Social Workers. She is an adjunct professor at Fordham University. I really wanted to go to Fordham, who has earned a bachelor's from Iona College and a master's of social work from New York University. Ms. Phipps is a published author and serves on numerous boards focused on the well-being of older adults. Ms. Phipps resides in New Rochelle, New York, with her husband, Charles. They have 3 children and 4 grandchildren. Please welcome Ms. Phipps to the stage. Greetings,
Thank you.
Ms. Phipps. How are you?
Thank you. Hi, how are you? Thank you for that introduction as well.
You're very welcome. Now, may I call you Collete going forward, or would you rather
Please
Ms.
call
Phipps?
me Colette.
Okay.
Okay, it's fine.
Wonderful, Colette. I thank you for joining us today. This program, now I want to say this to my audience. Some months ago, I was part of a panel for Westchester County, and I learned about Ms. Phipps and her program of Livable Communities Caregiver Coaching Program. So going forward in this conversation, we're going to call it the L3C program, just to shorten the title a bit. But I thought it was fascinating, and I really wanted my community, my little group here, to hear about it. So I'm so glad that you were able to accommodate us to discuss this wonderful program here in Westchester County.
Gayla, it is my pleasure to be here. Believe me, any opportunity that I get to share information about L3C, I'm there.
Yes, and that was what really stood out to me, your enthusiasm about the program. So what inspired you or inspired the creation of the Caregiver Coaching Program, and how has it evolved over time?
So,
If you could
your
explain the
question,
program.
your question is interesting, and I, I I'm going to answer it by saying who inspired the
Ah,
creation of the program,
okay.
and that would be Commissioner May Carpenter, who has been the commissioner of our department for 51 years.
Oh, wow.
She is our visionary, and it was her that came to me and talked about. I mean, of course, we knew I had been doing research for the department for many years, and we knew that approximately a third of our population are caregivers to loved ones. And when I say caregivers, I mean informal caregivers. So these are people who are not paid. So you can imagine the number of calls we get and inquiries about needing help to do the vast job that they're doing. Well, our commissioner, May Carpenter, said, we need a program where we train coaches to work with our caregivers. We train them about aging. We train them using coaching techniques. We help them to inform their decisions, the things that they have to solve while caring for their loved one. And she spoke to me about that one night, and the next day I got started. Now, what was really wonderful about it was that I got a call from a woman in, I'm trying to remember what municipality. I think it may have been in Dobbs Ferry, because this was back in maybe 2009. And she called and said that she was helping to care for her neighbor. I'm just going to call him Jim. Jim was a much older fellow. As a matter of fact, he was about 80 years old. He had recently had a hip surgery, and he needed help in the house. He did have a son, but his son lived about an hour away. And there were just little things that he needed. And this person who called me, I'll call her Mary, said, I am happy to help Jim. We love him, in our condo, in our building. Everyone loves Jim. We want to help him. But she said, but it appears that I'm the only one helping him right now. And I wondered, Ms. Phipps, if there were other opportunities, other available resources. Well, as we were talking, I thought about what Commissioner Carpenter had talked about in terms of coaching. And I said, geez, this is a wonderful opportunity to be talking to, Mary about Jim and beginning to develop this coaching program. So I asked her, whether or not, as a caregiver for Jim, could she benefit from working with a volunteer that could give her all of this information and speak to her intermittently, maybe once or twice a month. And she said yes. So, the rest is history. Began to work on the program, and we worked on it with Fordham University's Ravison Center on Aging. So, Gayla, I want you to know that this is an evidence based program. We developed it with Fordham University and the Department of Senior Programs and Services. I am really pleased and more than proud to say that I was part of that development and writing team. We developed a curriculum for our volunteers so that they would be trained on sort of the normative approaches to aging, and trained on how to coach and work with a caregiver. That we developed that curriculum. What we also did was to train about 14 faculty, and they were part of our aging network. So we did have some nurses, some social workers, geriatric care managers who came on board and were faculty. As volunteers, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. And we trained them on this curriculum. As a matter of fact, it's a training, a 2-day training. Trained them, and then opened it up, went to our communications department. I have to say, Gayla, that our administration at that time and even now has loved this program. So they will put out press releases so that we can get people in to become volunteers, and we train them. So let me just say that this work has evolved since 2009, when we went through COVID. We included a lot of information around COVID, and the pandemic. things to help people to stay safe. And we're running the program. And as I've said before, it has won several awards.
Wow. Um, okay. So the coaching program is you just was exactly what it's called, what it is you coach a group of people who go into the community and train or coach or help assist those caregivers that are in the home who are family members or friends and neighbors, just like you had just described about someone who reached out to you about their neighbor. So you just basically are training some people who volunteered for this, and they go into the community or they're available to the community to come and train those who are in the home and have to assist someone.
Well, let me just kind of modify that for
Okay.
just a moment and say that the coach is trained to provide one on one support to
Oh,
the caregiver.
okay.
So, what happens is that you are trained as a coach to work with one person,
Hmm.
and we match you with that caregiver. So, a caregiver may call me and say, I'm caregiving for mom. I've been doing it for about 5 years. I'm essentially doing it alone. I'm looking for available resources. I'm looking for those programs and services that my mom might be eligible for, but I could really use somebody to talk to.
Hmm.
Then what I do is to talk to them about the caregiver coaching program. First thing they say, sounds wonderful. How much does it cost?
Right.
And so I say, it's entirely free. You get this volunteer that's going to call you on your terms,
Hmm.
and you are going to talk together. That person is thoroughly trained. We make sure that that happens. I just explained that we do have, a training program and the curriculum, and they work from there. So that caregiver gets one on one support. The novelty or the innovation in the program, Gala, is that the program is administered or conducted by telephone.
Oh,
And that's why it is so very, very popular. A number of rural areas have replicated this program because it's so much easier than going someplace and having to meet your coach. So
mhm,
I often say, as a joke, the caregiver can be talking to the coach in their pajamas. Not a
mhm.
problem at all.
I'm sorry. I'm hearing some movement by your microphone. Are you like moving things in front of your
Oh, you know
microphone?
what? It may be that I moved some papers.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay,
All
so
right.
whatever you need me to repeat, I will.
Oh, no, no, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay, all
I could
right.
just hear it. I just wanted to make sure. All right. So, okay. So I love that. So I love the fact that it can be replicated. That's what I thought was a big deal. I love it. I think this is something that we need to have all over the country. It's a fantastic service. So, um, this is all volunteer, but the state somehow has to support it. Correct? Like, do you get some support from Westchester County, and they implement the program? So if someone is in a different state, they want to introduce it. They What do they do? How do they start that?
They start that by giving me a call,
Oh.
and we have staff, and we do go out and train various people on how to implement the program. What Gayla, the nice thing about the caregiver coaching program is that for different areas of the country, they can put a different spin on the program. We once trained a group of people in a health ministry at a church. So essentially, what was happening here was that they were talking to the caregivers that were congregants of the church, talking to their coaches who are also congregates, but also understanding that this is personal information that they may be receiving. So, you can have different spins on the program, but essentially, that winning sort of advantage to the caregiver coaching program is that you are on the phone with your caregiver and you decide on the meetings that you have. You decide on the frequency of the meetings.
Mhm.
We usually recommend that you talk to the caregiver twice a month,
Oh,
but it all depends upon what the caregiver may be going through. It may be a situation where they really are having a tough time making a decision and they need you for more than twice a month. So you might do that heavy duty work, once a week for about a month, and then you may take a break. But that all is something that the caregiver and the coach work out together.
that's great. I love that accessibility. Because one thing I talk about on my channel a lot when I'm encouraging caregivers is the importance of caring for the caregiver. And I love this support. It's needed. I do believe a lot of the country is going to have to stay in the community. Not everyone's going to be able to go into a nursing home. So I love the fact that you can have support right where you are. Uh, People don't elect to be caregivers. It's just something that happens. And so what do you do? And who helps you? And it's important that the caregivers are supported because if they're not well, the person in need doesn't have support. So I love this. I love this program. I want to just kind of go through some of my questions I have for you. So you talked about the training that you do for them, and when you say you provide the training, is that a group of who's doing that? Training the people who volunteer to be coaches.
We have a faculty, we have a group of people who have volunteered. They're part of the aging network. They too love the program. And so we have faculty. We started off with about 14 people who were faculty. We don't have as many now, but we do have faculty that will train, other folks in terms of train the trainer
Okay.
kind of a situation.
Hmm. Hmm.
So normally when we're training, it's two trainers. All right.
Okay.
So it might be myself and it might be one of my staff who is trained on this program. All right. And I may be working with 7 or 8 people who have applied because you do make an application. There is an interview.
Ah,
Okay, we do have an interview with people who volunteer. One of the things, Gail, we want to be very careful about is that we don't want a person to get the training. We do give a certificate of participation, but we don't want anyone running out and putting a shingle
mm,
out there saying that they're this certified
mm,
caregiver coach. That's
mhm,
something we don't want to have happen. And
mhm,
we can usually recognize that within, the conversation and the interview.
right.
We are looking for and have found people who have, in fact, been caregivers and have had to navigate the unwieldy path of a caregiver
Mhm,
and are looking to do good for others. And essentially, that's who we have on our roster. Wonderful people who have
mhm.
been caregivers and they love the idea and they feel that they have a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
I don't want this person to have to make as many calls as I had
Mm,
to. I don't want this person to have to go through the recordings. I don't want to have, I don't want this person to not know the right questions to ask.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you a little bit of my story, where my twin sister and I had to, we brought mom home. We had to take her into the home because her diabetes and kidney disease progressed in such a way where she couldn't live on her own. And so mom was with us. And after a while, she no longer was able to walk. And so we had to transfer her into a facility. And it was hard navigating those waters. You didn't know where to start. You thought everything came out of pocket. We thought actually, well, maybe insurance pays for this, and trying to figure all of that out. A lot of time spent, a lot of money spent out of pocket, not knowing what resources are available to you, not knowing that you had a myriad of choices or not very many choices in some things. So that was a lot of work. And so that's actually one thing I always focus on when I'm dealing with the Love Amplified community, is trying to cut out some of the stuff I had to go through. And I love this. So your coaches, they advise their caregivers in respect to what, um, medically, or how to deal
No,
with.
they don't advise medically.
Okay.
But remember, we're the Department of Senior Programs and Services.
Oh, so
So
you know all of
we
this.
are the engine. We
Right.
have all the resources, all the providers, everything that you would need. And we train those coaches to learn about that.
Mm,
And then, of course, if there's something that comes up that's very, very different, it's more the exception than the norm, then they come to us and we give them that information. So it's there, for them. And all of the things that you just talked about, what am I eligible for? So many people think long term care will, I'm sorry, that long term care is paid for automatically by
that's what.
Medicare. It is not.
Mhm.
So these are the things that people need to know. And as you said earlier, usually, when I am talking to caregivers, they are in crises
Yeah.
because we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we're not fortune tellers. We don't know what's going to happen. So they call me in crises.
Mhm.
That is unfortunate. We would like to see the public be a little more proactive.
Yeah. Yeah. For my family, my mom was like in her mid to late 60s, and she passed away about 68. She was 68. And so some things, just like you said, people come to you in crises. It just happened. Diabetes progressed, and then they said, oh, it's time for dialysis. And okay. And then that was moving faster than we thought. Or we thought, well, maybe she'll get better, maybe. So life just happened. And I really am very, it's important to me that people be proactive. And we all age, hopefully, right? And so it's important that we're prepared for that. Um, and I know I have a caregiving community here that the person they're caring for is not a senior. It's just someone they have to take
Right.
care of, right? And so you need preparation in that area as well. But this program is specifically for seniors, or is this for anyone in the caregiving community?
Well, only because I represent the Department of
Got
Senior
it.
Programs and
Okay.
Services, so I mean, our caregiver can be younger and the care recipient can be older, or it can be vice versa.
Right.
So you're right. As long as they meet the mark of 60 plus,
Ah,
because we're an area agency on aging and we serve people who are 60 years of age and older.
okay. Okay. That's good to know. That's great to know. All right.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. Let me just look at my questions here. So, when you're dealing with family caregivers, what are some of the biggest challenges that they face, and how does your program help address them?